I want to share with you this mindset that I keep hearing from women who remind me a lot of me, right? The women who are drawn to me and the women I am drawn to, we're often like-minded. And so this mindset is permeating underneath the surface. And so I need to call it out. And I'm going to share a personal story time. And this is a very personal story. And so I'm going to make the story very cryptic. I'm not giving y'all all the tea but I'm going to share a personal story time to help you all understand how this has applied to my own life. And so I need you to hear this. I'm waiting a few more moments and then I'm going to dive in. And then I'll recap a little bit as more women come on. This is particularly for women. This is for women. If any fellas come on, love you. But this is a message that I'm hearing particularly with the women that I work with. So this is particularly for women. And it is especially for women of faith, okay? And so I want to share with you what I am not going to allow on my watch. Okay, so I think it is time for me to go ahead and start. Okay, you all, I am very serious about this. I tend to be a little bit dramatic, just a little bit, but I don't want my dramaticness. Thank you, sis. I don't want my dramaticness to cause you all to miss the message. I am very serious about this, okay? So this has been going on for a while, this undercurrent that I have been hearing. And hear me, I'm just speaking from my heart. I don't have any notes in front of me, and y'all know that can be dangerous. I don't have any notes from me. I'm just sharing from my heart. There has been this messaging that I am hearing from women, particularly women of faith, often in the last several months. And the truth is, it probably has been a messaging that has been going on, but the Lord has just illuminated it and made it louder for me in the last couple of months. And I'm going to tell you some examples of this. About 2 or 3 months ago, somebody came and I was talking with them, and I was kind of hearing their heart. And this particular person told me, Robin, I'm just so tired I'm tired of not being disciplined. I am so tired of not being disciplined. I know her story, so I gave her the business. Then someone else came to me and they said, I am so frustrated with myself because I keep starting and stopping. And I'm just so mad at myself for that. So I gave her the business. Then someone else said to me, I'm just telling you this story. And in a minute, I'm going to share my own story time. I'm not even telling you who those people are. I'm going to put myself on the line. Someone else came to me and said, I am so mad because I should have been doing this more, this thing. I should be doing this more, but I just been trying to survive. So I gave her the business. Okay, so I'm about to give you the business. I'm about to come down your street. One of my clients told me, Robin, you don't just come down the street. You come down the street, you get that key that I kept hidden underneath my mat. You get that key I kept hidden under my mat, and you come on in and you make yourself comfortable in the living room. Well, baby, that's what I'm about to do. If you have been perpetuating, meditating on, telling yourself these stories, this internal dialogue, if you have been saying, I need to be more disciplined. If you've been saying, I am so frustrated with myself because of, if you have been saying, I'm so mad at myself because of, if that has been your messaging, this message is for you. What I have to share with you is for you, because what is not going to happen on my watch? Oh, let me calm down because I'm serious about this. What is not going to happen on my watch? I am no longer going to allow women who have been dealing with extreme pressures of life, women who have been dealing with extreme trauma, women who have been trying to survive, continue that negative internal dialogue where they are looking at themselves through a lens of judgment instead of a lens of compassion. We're not doing it on my watch. No, we're not doing it on my watch. Now, hear me. Remember, I gave you some examples. Someone came to me and said, Robin, I'm so frustrated because I'm not disciplined. I know her story. It's not a matter of discipline. She's been depressed. Then someone else came to me and said, Robin, I'm so sick of the fact that I keep starting and stopping, starting and stopping. It has nothing to do with her just not wanting to make things happen. She's been dealing with rejection all her life. And so now she is afraid of making a mistake, so she stops. Someone else said, Robin, I am so sick of the fact that I haven't done this thing, but I've been surviving. She's been surviving because she's been dealing with trauma with her child for the last many years. And so the internal dialogue that you are permeating and meditating on and believing is causing you to look at your life through a lens of judgment instead of a lens of compassion. Instead of a lens of compassion. And we're not doing that on my watch. As you're coming in, you already know you got some sisters you need to send this to. You have some people who need to hear this. Now, those of you who really know me, my personal friends who are on here and those who have had opportunities to engage with me, you know one of my core values is personal responsibility. That is one of my core values. As a matter of fact, I am deeply triggered when people don't own up to their stuff. Oh my gosh, it is a little bit extreme. I don't do well when people don't take personal responsibility. I don't do well when people blame everybody else for what's going on in their life. I don't do well when you say it's them and them, no sis, is you. I don't do well with that. And so I would never be one of the ones who is saying that you have no responsibility in your life. I am saying that you want to look at your life through a full lens and not just a negative lens. There is a term called cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions, and cognitive distortions are stinking thinking. It is the way your thinking is twisted or convoluted. And a cognitive distortion that a lot of people deal with is mental filtering. Mental filtering. You filter out all the good and you just look at the negative. And so as you're looking at your life, yes, there is some personal responsibility that you have, and we'll get to that. But on my watch, we're going to start with being fair with your soul. We're going to start with being fair with what you have been traversing through. And sis, I'm not just talking about your childhood trauma, because see, that's a whole nother story. See, some of you have childhood stuff that you've normalized, and many times we normalize our dysfunction. You have some childhood stuff that you thought was normal, but it really was traumatic, and you have normalized it so much because it's just what happens in your family. And so you don't even understand that that stuff is impacting you today. But that's not even the stuff I'm talking about. I'm talking about the last couple of years. I'm talking about the things you've been carrying, the weight you've been dealing with just in the last couple of years. And so you are wondering why you're not getting your money right. You are wondering why you're in these unhealthy relationships. You're wondering why you're staying at that job. You're wondering why you can't seem to move forward on that business. Listen, we need to deal with it. We need to deal with it, but we need to deal with the full story. And the full story is that there has been some stuff you've been carrying. And so this is the analogy that I used just today with several people. I want you to imagine. Let me pause it for a moment and say this. When I'm working with couples, right? When couples come to see me for marriage support, what I'm often trying to figure out is what's going on, what's happening. And as I begin to dig in, I can start to see where the primary issue is. And so often, each person contributes to the chaos, but sometimes one person has set that thing on fire. Are y'all flowing with me? I'm going to come back to you, but I just want to explain this to you. And so sometimes when I'm listening to couples, one person has done something to set the marriage on fire. Now, that doesn't mean that the other partner hasn't done some things to contribute to it, but we need to deal with the fire before we start dealing with the fact that the kitchen needs to be cleaned. If a house is on fire, oh, that's not a good analogy. Let me pause because I want to acknowledge those who are suffering from a loss in California. I don't want to be insensitive to that, but I think the analogy can help us. If a house is on fire, it would be foolish to run into the house and say, wait, I need to clean up the kitchen. Yeah, the kitchen may need to be cleaned up, but we first need to put the fire out. And so let me come back to you. Some of you are dealing with some really hard things over the last couple of years. Some of us have been dealing with some very hard things, and those things have been on fire. And so, yes, you may need to work on your discipline. And yes, there may need to be a budget. And yes, you may need to leave that relationship. And yes, you may need to consider another job. Yes, those things are important, but we first need to understand the trauma and the drama you've been dealing with. Work on that so that you have the capacity to deal with this stuff over here. My goodness. My goodness. I told y'all I am serious about this. I am serious about this. I told y'all when I started having visuals, you know I'm serious. See, some of us have been dealing with this fire over here, this really hard thing or these hard things, and it has been on fire. So you are wondering why your eating can't get managed. You're wondering why you're spending money recklessly in your mind. You're wondering why you feel stuck. It is because this heavy thing you've been dealing with and you only have so much capacity. Listen, your capacity is your currency. This is the visual. Your capacity is your currency. Now, I often use currency to talk about your emotions. You only have so much currency in a day, but today we're going to use this analogy to talk about your capacity. You only have so much capacity. I know you've convinced yourself you're Wonder Woman because you've done a lot, you handle a lot, you juggle a lot, but you only have so much capacity, and that's your currency. And so if you have something that is pulling at you, demanding you, requiring so much of you, you only have so much left for these other things that you should be doing. I did a whole live on YouTube about shoulds and should nots. I'm really building up the work I do on YouTube, so make sure you go check out that video. I did a whole video on shoulds and should nots because shoulds and should nots are tripping you up. So watch, you've been dealing with all of this over here, and it's requiring all of you. It's requiring all of you, and all of this is over here. And so you're wondering why I can't seem to get this over here under control, because you only have so much capacity. You only have so much capacity. So I keep saying, not on my watch, not on my watch. Listen, sis, listen. Yes, there may be some areas where you want to honor or pay attention to your discipline, but that ain't the real issue. That's not the primary issue. See, you're putting a lot of focus on that when the truth is there has been a lot going on in these last 2 to 3 years that has worn you out, and you don't have any more capacity. You don't have any more capacity. And so, of course, you find yourself just scrolling on social media at the end of the night because you know you want to be working on that book, but you just don't have any more capacity. That is why you just go ahead and eat that donut at 10 o'clock because you just don't have no more capacity. Listen and watch this. This is what's so crazy. This is what's so crazy. It is not, there's this concept about depression that we often feel like depression means you're not functioning at all. I remember when I was in training as a therapist, shout out to Dr. O'Brien, he taught me this concept. It's not a concept, it's a clinical diagnosis, and it is called dysphoric disorder. They've changed it now to persistent depressive disorder. But the way Dr. O'Brien explained it to me blew my mind. He called it the walking wounded. It is people who are dealing with the weight of depression. It's like the weighted blanket is on them, but they are still functioning in their day-to-day life. And listen, I'm not diagnosing you with depression, but I believe we're all on the spectrum of something. And many of us are still functioning. We're still handling the business. We are still going to work. We're still keeping the things in the air. We might even send a funny reel to our friends, and we might post that we were out at brunch with our girls, but you know that there is a reality that's keeping you burdened down, and you haven't quite been able to put your hands on it. You have not been able to quite articulate what it is. It is because you have been dealing with some stuff in the last 2 or 3 years that has been weighing on you, and it is taking you out. And so you're functioning You're doing what you have to do, but baby, you're tired. So you're calling it a lack of discipline when it's really exhaustion. You're calling it low self-esteem when it's really exhaustion. What it's going to require to do what you got to do, you can't seem to quite muster it up. Can I tell y'all, I have a problem with something. I got to go. But I have a problem with something, and it is this idea. Y'all gonna hang up on me when I say this. But I cringe. Oh, let me explain it. Before y'all shut down, let me explain it. I cringe when people say, check on your strong friend. I know I'm the strong friend, but let me tell you why I cringe. Because that just feels like another thing that I'm not doing good. It feels like now I'm not checking on my strong friend enough. Like it's this long list of all the things I got to be doing. The truth is, strong friends attract strong friends. You tend to attract people who are like you. And so, yes, you probably need to check on your sis, but your sis probably needs to check on you too. So I am not suggesting that we shouldn't check on our strong friend. I am suggesting maybe we just show empathy to all of our friends, because she may not even be articulating to you what she's really dealing with out of shame, out of embarrassment, out of frustration. She may not even be articulating it to you. And it's not that she doesn't love you. It's not that she doesn't trust you, but she has her own story she's telling herself. So instead of saying, check on your strong friend and pointing the finger as if we're not doing something right, why not just show empathy to your friends? Let's just show empathy. Let's just give grace. Girl, I know we haven't talked in a long time, but sis, I get it. I ain't tripping. I understand. Sis, I wish I had shown up for you the other day, but I'm going to tell you, I am overwhelmed. And your friends say, girl, I get it. Ain't no pressure, because we are all juggling so much. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me give you this story time and then I'm going to be gone. So I'm talking about the fact that, on my watch, what you're not going to do is tell yourself that it's discipline when it's really you're exhausted. Yeah, you probably do need to work on your discipline, but let's not start there. Let's start with healing your soul. Let's start with giving your soul a break. And so let me tell you this quick story time before my husband comes home and asks me why I'm not ready to go. So the other day, now I told y'all this is going to be a cryptic story because I'm not ready to put myself out there. But the other day, a situation occurred. And my response was so intense, so crunk. I went off. I mean, way out of character went off. Because I saw some information and I was like, oh my God. Oh, I mean, flipped. It was so out of character. It's not normally how I roll. It was so out of character. As I'm flipping out, going off, I keep looking. I keep looking. And I discover that I had misinterpreted the information. And what I thought I was reading wasn't what I was reading. But by now I done flipped out. I have gone off. And the person in which I'm going off on has never demonstrated anything in my life to make me think that what I was reading is what it ain't got to see. Y'all, it ain't even none of what y'all think. And I ain't even told y'all who the person is. So y'all, no. But so my response was just so out of pocket. So I do what I do. I call my sister. I called my sister. So I'm telling my sister the story. And at first we're laughing. And she's like, see, Robin, you, whatever. And then quickly my sister says, you need to take care of yourself. And y'all, now you got to understand the moment we're in. We're laughing. And she's like, girl, you a trip. Girl, you crazy. She said, you need to take care of yourself. And she goes on to say, Robin, that response is so not your character. It's so outside of who you are. I'm concerned. She said, I'm laughing at first. She said, I'm concerned. You need to take care of yourself. Let me tell y'all why that stood out to me. Rewind several weeks. I have an Instagram and a YouTube and a company called I Believe in Marriage. And so on I Believe in Marriage, I had just had my husband and I do a video where I ask him, I'm teaching this concept called the start, stop, continue feedback model. If you're married, you want to go check it out. Start, stop, continue feedback model. In your marriage, you want to ask, what do you want me to start doing? What do you want me to continue doing? What do you want me to stop doing, right? So I put myself on the spot on that video. And I said, okay, husband, I didn't know what he was going to say. I said, what do you want me to start, stop, continue? And one of the things my husband said several weeks ago is, Robin, I want you to start taking care of yourself. Now, mind you, fast forward, we're laughing, me and my sister, and she says, wait a minute, Robin, take care of yourself. She don't know. My sister's not married. She had not seen that video. She know. So I'm thinking back to when my husband said that on video, like we're sitting right in this space. He says, I want you to start taking care of yourself. And I'm like, what? Let me tell you why. Because if you're in my real life, baby, I'm low-key spoiled. And I don't like to share. And I have time by myself. Anybody who interacts with me and my kids, they know I'm like, nope, don't ask me. Go ask your daddy. In the mornings, I'm not even involved in morning routines because I'm sleep child. I got it. And your daddy can help you. Like, I'm so... I do me. I do me, honey. I'll go get me something to eat, sit in the car and eat it. I have my quiet time with the Lord. So my husband saying, start taking care of yourself. Then my sister says that in connection with this out of character response. And my sister and I keep fleshing out. That's why I say you don't do life in isolation. You got to get in a community of people who can help you see you. My sister says, you do all of those things. But the weight you carry of other people emotionally and the things you have been through in the last 2 years has put you at a place that you are not filled. Your soul is not filled. You are drained. She said, and because you do so much and you're moving and you're taking care of so many people and you're handling so many, you don't even realize your soul is tired. Because you're handling it so well, and this happens, you bounce back. This happens, you bounce back. This happens, you bounce back. The last 2 years, y'all, has just been. And and the reason I'm not realizing the impact, because I cry, honey. I'm a cry. I'm not that chick. If you ask me what's wrong, I'm going to say nothing. You ask me what's wrong, and I ask my girl Anika. She's on here. You ask me what's wrong. You don't even baby, I let it out. And so it's surprising, but I let it out, but then I go right back to business. I let it out and I go right back to business. I let it out and I'm going to handle this. And I let it out and I'm going to handle that. And I don't even realize how tired I am. And so this situation occurs. I have an out of character response, which is an indicator that my soul needs rest. Oh my God, my husband is here. I'm about to get in trouble. So I want you to understand, on my watch, you're going to check your internal dialogue. What are you saying about you? Stop looking at your life through a lens of judgment. Look at your life through a lens of compassion. Be gentle with you. Be gentle with your soul. Tell yourself the truth, but tell yourself the whole truth. I may need to be more disciplined, but my soul is tired. I may need to manage my money better, but I have been putting out fires. I'm going to invite the Lord in to help heal my heart so that I can do the things he has called me to do. Not on my watch, sis. Check that internal dialogue. Okay, bye, y'all.